Welcome back to the 150K podcast. I'm your host, Joe Graham, where we help take your dreams to six figures and beyond. Today, we have a special guest, Tracy Brickman. Now, Tracy was on the show, I think it was episode 12, and he was the one that said, Joe, you're a salesman. Just ask questions and change the whole dynamic of the podcast. So it's great to have you back. As of our talk right now, I think 114 episodes will have been dropped. You'll probably be 120, 125, somewhere in there, because like we always do in the podcast where we bank some. That way, if we have an issue or something
Right.
comes up, we can definitely do that. But Tracy, let's talk a little bit about what you've done since you've been on the podcast before, because I know we talked a little bit about podcasting and all, and that's
Mhm.
one of your expertise. So let's catch people back up and go from there.
Well, let's see. I think that since the last time we chatted, I started a podcast editing company. So folks that want to get their podcast edited, I have a little team off in the background. And here's what's really cool for me is I didn't want to do the work. I've done the podcast editing, and when you're doing it, it's fun at first, and then it gets a little tedious
Hmm.
unless it's one of your core expertises, right? It's like if you're an accountant and you love accounting, then doing the books is awesome. You enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if you're not, it's like wah wah wah, right?
Yep.
But I enjoy some of the editing, but if it's like a job, no. So you built a little team in the background, created a portal so folks can just sign up, and they pretty much just drop their files in there. They're assigned a person that does it for them and gets to know their voice, their message, so they keep that on brand, and it's hands off. I just don't touch it,
Hmm.
kind of thing. And so that's been a lot of fun. I've shifted my podcast a couple of different times. It's like, where the audience is showing their interest. I kind of went with that and
Hmm.
thought, hey, I'm having fun here. I'm going to keep doing that. And it's morphed quite a bit since you started not too long after I did, with your podcast, and it's been a fun blast. And like I was just mentioning to you a few minutes ago, before you hit that good old record button, getting ready to drop two courses, pretty
Hmm.
major courses, right around here. Probably about the time this is probably hitting the streets, people will have, oh, I've heard about it already because Tracy is already doing it. Because I know, like you said, we bank these things.
Yep. Yep.
But maybe about the time this is hitting the airwaves, the second one is going to be hitting them. But yeah, it's trying to stay busy and stay out of trouble, man.
No, I got you. I got you. And I know you're being kind with that. I have 114 episodes right now. You're over 400, aren't you? Like if I
I
remember
just
looking
dropped
last.
400 this Monday as
Yeah,
of the time we're recording this. So
that is
yeah, it's
crazy
exciting.
cool. Like 400 episodes. That shows commitment. That shows you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's funny as I started to record the intro for episode 400, which of course the actual content was an interview I did a couple of months back.
Mhm.
But when I was putting it together and realized, oh crap, this is going to be episode 400. I did comment on the fact that so many people start things, and in this case, podcasts. And as you and I both know, the average length of a podcast is like 8 weeks
Yep.
for most folks that start it, and then they realize, shit, this is actually work. I don't
It
want to do
is. Yep.
that. But when you hit 100, it's pretty exciting. So
Mhm.
I know what you're feeling. And when you hit 250, you're like, ah, you're in your groove. 400, I'm feeling like the beard here, right?
Yep.
It's just,
Yep.
it's almost second nature. A lot of the parts of it, you always get something new, but I think that's the excitement. That's the exciting thing of just being in any entrepreneurial journey, right? You keep learning, you keep stretching your boundaries a little bit. Like you and I have talked before, you step outside your comfort zone and then you step back in, and your comfort zone grows as a result of that.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I was thinking about the fact that you would be like Gandalf in podcasting because you've been doing it for so long, and I'm into like
I
Lord of
know,
the
right?
Rings and that type of stuff. But I'm with you with it. Like in the beginning, it was like harder, and I don't like to edit much, so like my stuff is pretty unedited, just kind of how my mind works with it. I
Sure.
like all the craziness with it, but with everything that you're doing. I think it's kind of one of those things that people don't you almost have to love this. It's almost like I feel like podcasters like us that have made it, we're like the old radio hosts. We don't have a radio station, but we just like that whole being on the thing. Like when I was a kid, I used to
Yeah.
think, I want to own a radio station. Now I'm like, good Lord, I won't want to own a radio station. It would be broke. But I can podcast and talk to people
Yeah,
and I think it's just that storytelling aspect of it.
it is. And I think, and you probably resonate with this. I like people,
Hmm.
right? And I like to learn. And one of the greatest ways to learn is to talk to people.
Yeah.
So it's just like this great marrying of things. I mean, you've mentioned a couple of times I've been podcasting. Probably, I always say before podcasting was cool when it was literally still in the geek zone,
Hmm.
right? Because all the techie thing. And this website started. I don't know if it's still around. I believe it is. It was about this time last year. It's called Blog Talk Radio, and it allowed you to start your own kind of radio station. Really, what we
Hmm.
now know as a podcast. And I was doing just like we're doing now. I would reach out to folks and connect with them and share messages and yada yada yada. And I got this lady on, and she was from Ireland, and I
Nice.
was like, "This is really cool because here we are. Technology has allowed us to come together and talk live, and you could actually accept phone calls.
Hmm.
People, they would give you a number, and they could dial in, and they would be connected. It was a really cool service, and I mean, that just got me hooked. I thought, what a great way to get your message out, learn from other people at the same time, and just, keep the content still out there.
Hmm.
And, it's pretty cool. I don't think it's getting that many hits anymore. My second podcast that I started, it's still getting two, three, 400 listens a week, and I'm
Hmm.
doing nothing to it. It's just out there on its own. And that's, to me, I think it's when you create content, no matter what it is, whether you're a YouTuber, a TikToker, a Facebook person, it's out there forever. Maybe not Facebook, right? Yeah,
Yeah, not Facebook, but the other
maybe
stuff.
not
Yes.
Facebook. Facebook shows it, and then it kind of goes away.
Unless
And
it's
but
a
yeah,
reel. If you do a
yeah,
reel, they're
and
they'll
yeah,
stay for
they're
now.
letting those hang around. But in the other genres, especially if you're talking about like a YouTube, right?
Mhm.
I think I like to use them. I'm for those that are listening right now and can't see. I'm doing an X with my hands. The X that starts at the bottom and goes up is YouTube,
Mhm.
right? You put some content out there and it starts generating some interest. And over time, it rises and rises and rises and rises. Okay. Well, Facebook's is just the opposite. It goes out there and they throw it out to a bunch of people. And if they get good traction, they keep throwing it out to people. But over time, it just drifts off until it's gone,
Mhm.
right? It's still sitting there, but people have to go find it.
Yeah.
So there are other platforms that will keep pushing you out there. And I think if you're going to create content, you want to put it out there where people are going to have a chance to see it and find it and resonate with it and like it and engage with it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, well, and it's something that I've learned because in the beginning I just did the podcast and I was getting to meet cool people and I was sharing it and stuff. And then like, well, how do I get more people to listen to the show besides me just sharing? Because I only have such a certain thing. And
Yeah.
then I got a YouTube channel. Then I got into doing TikToks. I got into doing reels of different things just to get that open or that exposure. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think now, even looking at it with all the people that I've talked to, YouTube seems to be the best to build over the long term. And podcasting is a long term game. That's the thing
Yeah.
that a lot of people get disappointed with. Some of my episodes have 50, 60 downloads, some have 100 downloads, some have 10. You never know which one is going to pop and go crazy. And,
Yeah.
and you just have to keep being consistent. And then one day, all of a sudden you build that traction. So if you're doing that, you want to have intention with it. So like you said, with YouTube, all your stuff's there. You can build it, you can send people to it, you can use it a lot easier. No, I think
Yep.
YouTube is still it's so funny. YouTube started out and it's still the powerhouse.
Yeah, it's funny is, like you said, we've been doing this podcast for a little bit. The past, I'll say, I don't know, 4 months maybe. I've been g- getting my fingers wet in the YouTube arena. Now, mind you, I've been playing in YouTube for forever,
Hmm.
right? When I started the podcast, I linked up my podcast provider with YouTube, so every time I published an episode, it automatically got pushed out to YouTube, and it would get a view, 2
Mhm.
views, no views, whatever, right?
Yep.
But it was really, an image and the audio was coming. That's what podcasting is. Well, to me anyway.
Yeah.
And so the past couple of months, I've been taking um, what I think where I see the spikes in the podcast, I'll create a YouTube version of that. And here lately, the past couple of episodes, I've changed my workflow for what I think is good content for both platforms.
Mhm.
I'll record the video at the same time, right? And then put it together, and then publish the podcast and then go through and edit the video and then publish the YouTube separately. In the past 4 or 5 episodes, I've been getting
Oh, wow.
thousands of views. I mean, I'm floored
Mhm.
just out of nowhere. And I think it comes down to just a little bit of research. And here we are. We're going to come back to some of the fundamentals that we know so many don't pay attention to. They just say, "Oh, everyone's on YouTube. Let me go do YouTube," and they go do that without doing the research behind
Yeah.
it, right?
Yep.
You know, and I took that same research, and I'll tell you what it is in a second, from the YouTube and started applying it to the podcast and seeing some of the same lifts.
Mhm.
So allow me to share you a little secret. Keywords. Aha, that's it. Yeah. And I don't mean just, don't just pump a bunch of keywords into your descriptions and stuff like that. But if you go out there and look at, like, I just dropped an episode, it's all about how to create a business using old magazines,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Unique
Okay.
idea.
Mhm.
We all know about old magazines. Some of us have them sitting out there in our garage. We see them at, you know, at, at garage sales and flea markets, stacks, sometimes out in someone's trash. Here, take it, free to a good home. But I stumbled across a lady's website, and that's what she's been doing. She's been taking old magazines, and I'm talking about from 1930s,
Mhm.
1950s, 1970s, and coming across content that she thinks is either still relevant or juxtaposing it and saying, okay, what were we thinking back then? Right.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And she's not reading it verbatim. She's sharing her commentary, right,
Mhm.
on it, this editorial version of it. And she may read snippets of it. And then she turns around and creates these niche websites with that, a car website, a fashion website, a relationship website. She's got 10 of them already.
Oh,
And then
wow.
she monetizes that with affiliate products
Mhm.
and,
Yep.
products of her own, et cetera, et cetera. Really cool idea. And so I dropped that episode and I saw a little spike. I thought, let me create a video of this. And I saw the same spike. And I thought, I wonder if I could create a 30-second, like, here are the 6 steps,
Mhm.
a YouTube short. And I had just gotten in my email from YouTube saying, hey, we're now monetizing YouTube shorts effective January. And I thought, let's give it a try.
Yep. Yep.
And so this weekend, while I was watching TV, I sat down with some, create this software. I created like this little series of little snippets, right? Bam, bam, bam,
Mhm.
with quick action and gifts and the whole 9 yards, saying, here are the 6 steps to creating a business using old magazines. And I looked at it this morning and it already had something like, I don't know, 200, maybe 600. I don't want to overestimate it,
Mhm.
but it was under 1,000, but out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's still a
And
lot.
it was, yeah. And I think it's because I started leveraging some of the keywords. I took the time to do the research to say, okay, what keywords would this resonate with that some of I went after some of the high competitive ones, like
Mhm.
make money online.
Yeah.
But I also looked for the ones that may be newer, that have some traction, but not everybody is trying to go after. Like, we're, at the time we're recording this, we're 17 days into 2023. So what did I do? Make money online 2023,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because
I
how
got
many
you.
times
Yep.
have we gone out and done some sort of a search, and you're like, well, I don't want stuff from 2019 because
Mhm.
after COVID, everything flipped on its ear. So I'm going to do
Yeah.
2022, right? And side hustles, best side hustles for teens,
Mhm.
best, how to start a business with no money, all those little keywords. And I just did that. And then I sat down and I wrote a description, a summary,
Mhm.
and then, more detail under the summary that enabled me to naturally s- use those keywords again. I wanted to say stuff the keywords.
Yep.
Keyword stuffing is just going keyword, 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 keyword. But when you use them in a more natural manner, the algorithms are far nicer to you. So I took that learning and have applied it to a number of the podcast episodes. And I've been seeing a lift in those. Some of the older episodes that I did that to are like going back up, because as people are searching for some of those keywords,
Oh, that's
they're
good.
finding it and they're listening to the podcast. And it's like, wow, learned it over here. Let's apply it over here, or, execute it over here. And here we are.
Yeah. Well, success leaves clues. Like I did
Mm-hmm.
jump on that bandwagon. Like I'm not against AI. Like I think AI is a great tool, but a lot of
Yes.
people are complaining about it. So I did a quick 5-minute YouTube training on how to compete with AI in 2023. I used all those little simple keywords and I popped it in.
Yeah.
And that got more traction than some of my typical sales stuff, because in my sales space, there's so many hustling, big grinding,
Yeah.
do this, and I'm like the opposite. I'm more of a relationship sales guy, so I'm trying to find
Yeah.
a different way to break in there, but I love the keyword thing. I'm gonna have to go back and do that, because I think repurposing stuff is great too, because I literally just released another just a little 5-minute one on YouTube, instead of just doing the long podcast and the reels
Mm-hmm.
on just follow up, how to make millions with follow up, those little simple
Yeah.
things, and it's starting to get traction. But I think it's that, and then the consistency of it, because if they keep seeing you in that channel, then they're gonna go back, okay, hey, Tracy knows his stuff about this. I'm gonna follow him up on this and this and this. Which
Yeah.
leads us into, so I think a lot of times people, when they're starting out, they have an idea to have a course, they have an idea to have a podcast, they have an idea to do all this stuff, but how do they link it all together? Because I know you're a master at this and you're gonna be having courses come out and all. So how do people link all the different things they're doing? Because I think they get excited to do the one thing and then they do all this, but they're not, they don't have that, for lack of a better term, customer journey to take them through the whole process
Mm-hmm.
to get into your course. How would you help someone with that?
It depends on which side we start with, right? So let's say you're a course creator that wants to start a podcast.
Hmm.
Well, I would guide you to say, you know what? You already have all the content that you want to share on a podcast in your course.
Yep.
So really, all you want to do is take these bite-sized nuggets. And I'm all about giving away the farm. Give it away, give
Hmm.
it away, give it away now, as the Chili Pepper said, right?
Yep.
And just give it all to them. Because here's what's going to happen. 99.999% of the people that hear the amazing content that you drop for free aren't going to do anything with it.
Yep. Yep.
I'm going to say that again. They're going to do nothing with it.
100%.
And those that do something with it, more power to them, right? They were going to find that content for free somewhere. And luckily they heard it from you, and they'll keep hearing, they'll get good reactions from you, and they'll keep listening, and they'll sing your praises. And what'll happen is, as you start, chopping that course up and creating a podcast out of it, is someone's going to raise their hand and say, Joe, you've been dropping knowledge on your podcast, and I hear you talking about, this thing you're doing and that thing you're doing. Where do I sign up?
Hmm. Yep.
And believe me, they will, trust me. And then on the flip side, if you're a podcaster when they're creating a course, well, then usually you're going to create a course around the content that you're discussing,
Hmm.
i.e. you would probably create some sort of sales course.
Yeah.
Now, I know
Yep.
you customize, you go in and you create a custom thing for whatever client you're working with,
Hmm.
but inside of your customization are going to be, I'm going to guess, 3 to 5 core pillars that you always know. If you do these 3 to 5 things,
Hmm.
you may do them like this and someone else may do them like that, but you need to do these 3 to 5 things. Those are the things you could teach as the fundamental of your course.
Yep.
And you can get someone started with that. That's how I would guide them to put those 2 things together, whether they're on one side or the other. Now, if they didn't have either one, I would coach them to start a podcast
Hmm.
first. And not because I have a podcast course coming up, but but let's think about it for a second,
Yeah.
because you want to get comfortable on the mic.
Yep.
You want to get
100%.
comfortable talking to people, teaching things. It's an acquired skill.
Hmm.
Salesmanship is an acquired skill. People say, I hate being a salesman. Well, you haven't acquired the skills then,
Yeah.
because so you're uncomfortable at some point of it. I don't want to be sleazy. I think that's a misnomer
Hmm.
from television.
100%.
There
Yep.
don't get me wrong. There are sales people, I won't say just men,
Hmm.
out there that, to this day are probably just that. But as an industry, I believe sales is an amazing process
Hmm.
that people who can learn it or who take the time to learn it realize, holy crap, it's that easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a difficult process, because if I come to you and I deliver the goods, you're good. You're like, here, take my money, please.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
So if someone takes the time to start a, let's not even say start a podcast. Maybe they go on. I don't have any money, Tracy. I need to do something. Good. We were just talking about YouTube. Go on YouTube.
Hmm.
Start a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's free.
Start doing reels. Start on TikTok, right? Just dropping knowledge, and put in those little hashtags and drop some keywords in there, and just kind of thread them all together. I'm going to be talking to you this week about the 20 steps that you need to follow to do whatever your niche is.
Hmm.
And then you drop 3 a day, and if someone comes in the middle, they're going, wait a minute. He said that was step number 9. They're going to your profile and they're going back to step 1. And I've done it. Trust
Yep.
me. I
Yep.
see it says, 10 out of 20. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That was good. Let me go back to number 1. And they start listening from the beginning,
Hmm.
and you get that comfort with whatever medium you want. And then you're like, okay, I found the people, and they'll start commenting. Hey, what about this? What about that? And right. And that gives you the next idea for whatever platform you're on, to do a video, to do some written content, or update your blog. And then you're going, okay, now I'm ready to do X, whether that's a podcast, or maybe you take it from TikTok onto YouTube and you create a course, or whatever it might
Hmm.
be, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's kind of funny. I kind of did it the backwards way. So I started the podcast and I was just doing sales coaching because I do really good with my day job. And so I would just do sales coaching a little bit on the side and do the podcast because I wanted to help dads. That's kind of my
Mhm.
avatar, be able to take their kids to Disney, wives to Hawaii, whatever theirs is. That's my thing. So that's why I said Hawaii and Disney.
Mhm.
Maybe it's Greece and Universal. I don't care what it is, whatever you want to do.
Right.
Um, and then I'm like, well, crap, I can help people. Like, but time is money and they're valuable. And if I noticed when I was helping people for free, they weren't getting it. They weren't doing anything. When they had to put a little bit of skin in the game, all of
There
a
it
sudden I
is.
started getting the results because now, if there's not an exchange in the energy, if there's not an exchange of what you're giving them, they respect it more because now that they've actually done it, they're putting, money, time, and effort in. And
Yeah.
then I think the other thing is that you just need to find out what's your purpose? What is it that you want to do? Because this
Yeah.
is a long game. And if you're wanting to start a business, it's not easy. So it's got to be something you enjoy doing. You can't my wife loves crochet. I could not do a podcast on crochet. Well, maybe one just to make her happy, but it wouldn't be like I'm not passionate about it. I have no understanding of it, no knowledge of it, but
Mhm.
I can talk to people all day. And like you're talking
Right.
about sales, I just think sales is problem solving. I'm just helping people solve problems. You take that away, you're good. That's it. I'm just helping you solve a problem. If I can help you, great. If I can't, Tracy, cool. I'm going to refer you to someone who can. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. And there it is. It's just that easy. And I think for those out there who are listening, please listen to that again. Hit that little rewind 15, 30-second button and re-listen to that. It's just being an entrepreneur, being a business person, man, woman, whatever. That's that's your day and night. That's your bread and butter. I'm gonna solve a problem.
Mhm.
McDonald's solves a problem. People are hungry and they're in a hurry.
Yep.
That's it. But that's all it is. So whatever you're doing, if you're just like, listen to my podcast, and no one's listening, it's because you're not solving the damn problem. If
100%.
you tell them, I just dropped the most amazing episode because I found a solution to X, Y, and Z,
Hmm.
you're going to get a few listens, because people are going to go, wait a minute, I have that problem. Let me go listen. If someone's interested in starting a unique business and they hear that, oh, I could start a business with old magazines. Shit, I got all kinds of old magazines around here.
Yeah.
Let me go listen to that. Right.
Yep.
It gets their juices flowing. And I think the other thing, and I think you'll resonate with this well, no matter what platform you're on, please don't try to be Gary V. Please don't try to be, you know, hey, don't even try to be Zach Babcock. Don't try to be Tracy. Don't try to be Joe. Be you,
Hmm.
right? You don't want to attract my audience to you, because you might get a bunch of rock and roll, long haired, bearded I know gunslingers.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
just
I'm cool with that, but I got you. You want to
well, yeah,
definitely
but
be
you follow what I'm
the right
saying?
person for
And
it.
maybe they don't crochet if you're doing a crochet podcast. And I think another let's and rein me in anytime here,
Oh, no,
Joe.
you're good. I
I'm on a
love
roll
this.
here. I think so many people try to create a podcast like every damn one of the other podcasts, or a course like every one of the. Well, I see all these great podcasts that get on the microphone and they interview people and they give great tips, and I could do that. I could do that. I like to talk to people. If you don't know where you're trying to take it, if you don't know what the end in mind is, then you're going to flounder and you're going to get frustrated. Now, that's not to say that the end won't change, because
Right.
as you know, and as I mentioned here earlier, my current podcast has changed
Hmm.
3 times now, and it's I've announced, hey, we're gonna shift a little bit here. Here's what we're doing. And each time it's really been changing because I've been narrowing. Because I want to focus on dark horse entrepreneurs, and people kept asking me, what the hell is a dark horse entrepreneur?
Yep.
I'm happy to explain it, right? And then I started, okay, I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. And then more recently, I started focusing on those that want to start online courses and do marketing, right?
Hmm.
Because those two, they just work together. If you got a course, you got to market it.
Yep.
And those that are doing marketing, usually they have a core set of knowledge that they could leverage in their business to create a course. And there's even a Google program out there that will annually give you, I want to say it's 10,000, it may be 20. I know it's at least $10,000 in Google ad spend
Oh, wow.
if you give away a course for free as part of your business.
That's
Now, I'm not
cool.
leveraging that to make revenue. I just found out about that like 4 months ago, and the program's doors closed, but I can guarantee you the minute those programs doors open again, I'm going to be knocking on them, because
Hmm.
I know there are a number of business owners, I'm just going to talk locally, that
Yeah.
have brick and mortar businesses that could create a free course and get free Google ad spend to bring local business to their brick and mortar store,
Hmm.
and the course itself would bring interest into their door. So it's like, don't think about everything in the static, monotone light. Go into it with an open mind and think, how could I really leverage this to its maximum, like you were talking about earlier? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I love what you were saying there. Yeah, you definitely don't want to try to be someone else. Like, I'm not going to be the underdog guy. That's not me. Like, I have a story, but my
Right.
story's not that story. The people
Yeah.
I resonate with aren't going to be the same. But I also love what you said. My podcast had started to do that. When I first started out, it's like, hey, I'm going to help you break the 6-figure barrier. Now it's turning more into life by design, and we're getting into health. We're getting into more of other stuff, not just money, but like, life, self-care, all the different things. And
Hmm.
it's just been changing and becoming this new organic thing, which I love. And I think it's just you start out, you have a fuzzy dream. And then that
Yeah.
dream narrows down. Who can I help more? And then it's really funny. It's not going wide. It's always going deep. And I think that's
Yes.
the thing that a lot of entrepreneurs with the shiny syndrome get is like, we want to do this and this and this. You do the same thing over and over again. You just repackage it until the last
Yeah.
person understands it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. That's the magic. Sales is
Yes.
just sales. Podcasting is just podcasting. Courses are courses.
Yeah.
Those principles are the same as how we teach or demonstrate or do stuff with it. And I also
Right.
love the other thing you said there. Having a course for free that starts, that gets them into your sphere. So they start to
Yes.
get to learn how you teach. You can throw it on YouTube. It's pretty easy to do. Or you can do a master class. Maybe you don't want to do a whole course. Maybe you just want to do a master class on podcasting or sales or vegetables. I don't know what you want to do, whatever that is.
Exactly.
And then you get all those people in, and then 10% of them probably gonna like, well, heck, he knows a lot more. I want to work with Tracy. I want to work with Joe on this now because I understand kind of what he's saying, but he probably can teach me more if I work one-on-one. That's just you build that thing. I think we all just think. I think sometimes people try to monetize too fast. Like,
Yeah, and man, money on the nose right there. And I think one of the other benefits of, all right, so let's use the example of the free course, right? It becomes your lead magnet.
mhm,
Hey, instead of saying I'm going to send you this PDF of the 14 reasons to crochet,
yeah,
I'm going to show you. I'm going to walk you through and visuals, and it solves a couple of problems. One, everyone's seen the PDF freebie. They
and they
get
don't
it. You
look
just
at it.
want You just want my
You get
email.
it and it goes in your file and you don't look at it. How
That's
many
it, right?
ebooks have you gotten
And
that you've
they
not read?
may open it. They may open it, look at it, and go,
Maybe.
okay, well, I'll read it this weekend, and they never get back to it. How many of us have a bunch of lead magnets we downloaded and never? Yes, everybody's raised their hands. Good, but if you tell them, I did this 1 hour course, it's 5 sessions of 20 minutes, right? You could watch it. You could, while you're out there, whatever you're doing, you're walking the dog, you can listen
Mhm.
to it, yada, yada, yada. It's a little different, right? And it does something else is it touches all the mediums because not everybody is visual,
Right.
right? Some people are auditory, some
Mhm.
people are kinetic, right? Some people are more woo-woo, right?
Mhm.
It that whole video format kind of touches all those realms if you do it right. If you just sit
Yep.
here and talk on this on the lens and you just talk like this, and you're going to lose people.
Yes.
If
100%.
you're more active and you throw up a visual every once in a while or show them what's going on, right? You engage them, they're going to go, wait a minute, this is the free stuff, right? This is the free stuff. Here's the other benefits. As they consume that, they're going to ask questions.
Mhm.
Well, I like this thing you said in lesson 2, but my question is XYZ, right? And it's telling you what else they want to learn, whether it's about the same topic or about other topics. They will raise their hand
Mhm.
and tell you what it is they want to buy from you. Just that simple. And as you see the folks that are consuming it or where they drop off, maybe you can see a trend of, oh, every time I do this, they drop off, right?
Mhm.
Let me change that. Hey, everybody, I just updated the course that you got for free. This one right here, boom. And everyone goes, looks at it, and maybe they finish the course. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's this two-way learning opportunity. You're learning more of what they want, giving it to them. They're telling you, you got to give me more of this. Now you've got them primed.
Yep.
I don't want to say loyal customers because it's free, but they're certainly loyal to your style,
Mhm.
right? That's why I say be you. You get on the microphone, just be you, just share it, right? You like rock and roll and Kiss magazines, man, just they're out there. They're trust me, right? Then you say, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to have this workshop to your example you were using. I'm going to have this workshop 4 hours. I'm going to be bringing the heat. Just bam, bam, all the questions they asked you. That's what you tell them on the advertisement, quote
Mhm.
unquote
Yep.
advertisement, right? To get them into the workshop, and you bring the heat. And at the end of the heat, what do? You tell them, look, if you want more help doing X, Y, or Z, here's this, whether it's private coaching, a full-fledged course that's paid, a membership site, whatever it is that you've built,
Mhm.
have that ready at the workshop, at least a checkout page. You don't need to have a full-fledged blown out website and everything. Just saying, look, here, you guys kept asking these questions. I'm going to make sure I bring the fire. I'm going to answer all those questions. Oh, and by the way, I took it one step further. If you're interested, there it is right there. There's a checkout page. Give them the
Mhm.
blowout price. You're my beta group, whatever. It's going to be
Yep.
14.9997 in about 3 months. You, my friend, are getting for 497, whatever it is. All right. Yeah, I sounded pitchy right there. But
It's
you,
all
you
good.
know, you know what I'm saying,
I
right? You
understand.
you just give away the farm right out of the gate, and they'll tell you what else they want. And then you just, again, workshop, pitch, boom.
Mhm.
Again, you're solving the problem. So they're going to be like, yeah, 10%. I like the
100%.
other.
No, I love that because if you think about it, people need to be able to trust you. They need to have that. And everyone has a different time frame that they need. So some people are going to come and meet you right away and be like, cool, I need to work with Tracy on this. Great.
Mhm.
And they're willing to pay for stuff. That's like 20% of all buyers. Then you get to the what I call the midterm, like the probably about another 60% that they need to get to trust you, build a relationship. That
Yeah.
time period could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year. You don't know. You just develop the relationship with them. Then you got another 20% that they're just going to be lookers. They're not for you. Let them go. Don't worry about them.
Yeah.
And you just build that relationship and you find different ways to bring them in. You can't, I mean, unless you want to be super niche and only serve high end clients, you need to have a low offer that brings people in that they can taste what you're doing, then
Mhm.
like a medium offer, and then like that customized. Tracy, if you want me to work with you one on one, take care of everything and customize it, it costs this because I'm putting a lot more time and effort in. If you
Right.
just want to learn basic principles, this is what we're going to do.
Boom.
And it's so simple, but I think we make it so hard because the other thing I think, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong, the other thing I think most entrepreneurs and people think is they don't value their gift as much because it's easy for them. I know I've dealt with it.
Yeah. Oh my
They
gosh.
get
Yes.
caught up in, well, yeah, this is sales for, and I'll use myself as an example. This is sales. It's easy. My wife looked at me recently and goes, "It's not easy.
Not easy.
It's easy for you. You've been doing it for 16 years. It's normal to you, but you're telling them something that could make them two, three, $400,000." And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're right.
Right.
And stuff with you that you do, it's the same thing. So if you have a gift or a niche or something that you have that's valuable that you can teach someone,
Hmm.
don't devalue it. Learn to trust that it is of value. That's the other thing. I think that's either you have the people that are like, oh, I'm worth $10,000. What are you teaching? I'm a life coach. How old are you? I'm 21. Okay, bro, you're
Yeah.
not gonna work. But if someone that was like 60, I'm just gonna throw out there, someone like 50 or 60, but they built like 8 businesses and did all this stuff and said, hey, I'm a life
Right.
coach. I'm gonna talk to that person because they have scars.
Yeah.
I know they've been through that battle. So I think it's just finding what works for you, what you need to do. Not that when you're young, you can't do a course and stuff. Just
Hmm.
do something that people are going to trust, like, and buy from you.
100%. And you know what? I won't tread on what you said, but I would here, first off, I was lucky enough to learn the value your gift early. I was back in the 90s and I was working at Coca-Cola and I cut my teeth on Lotus 1, 2, 3, and you probably have to have as many gray hairs as I have to remember Lotus 1, 2, 3, which, later became Excel and everyone knows about it. And
Mhm.
I had a number of people that had come to me and say, could you teach us how you're doing some of these things in Excel? Sure, no problem. And, so I got it was, at Coca-Cola. So anyway, we just pulled the team together for a couple of hours and got the room and up on the projector. And I'm going through this stuff. And I kind of grazed right through a couple of things. And hands kept coming to go, wait a minute. What was that?
Mhm. Yep.
I'm like, oh, that's just copy and paste. Everyone knows that. And they're like, no, 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 no,
Yep.
no. And it was just the core basics. I didn't even I had been doing it since day
Mhm.
one. So for me, it was like my fingers are flying past it. You just do this and then that. And then here's where, and I slowed down for like some of the formula things, right? Now,
Mhm.
what you're going to want to do is this. And they're, well, wait, you lost me way back here on
Yep.
step two. And I'm like, copy and paste? Really? I
Yep.
didn't say that out loud. My brain was
Mhm.
screaming it. And that's when I realized, okay, I had to adjust my message to the audience,
Mhm.
right? And I actually realized, okay, it is a gift. I know I'm at level 7 and
Mhm.
they're at level 1 or 2. Okay. I need to bring them up slowly. And here's the next step of that. Whatever your gift is, keep enhancing it,
Yeah.
right? Day by day, keep practicing it. I see so many people, and you probably see some of this too, who have gone through any number of, the Briggs, Myers, and all these other
Mhm.
skill assessments, and they find out what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, which is good and bad. It's good because, man, it's really good to know what your strengths are, and it's really good to know what your weaknesses are so that you can pair yourself up with opposites so that you balance each
Right.
other out.
Yep.
Now, for those solopreneurs that may be listening, so many of you are going to say, well, I'm really weak in this.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go take that course. I'm going to spend the time to hone those skills. And let's say your skill in that, your weakest skill is at 20%.
Mhm.
And you bust it and you grind it and you invest the effort and the money and the assets and you double it. Now it's
You're still only
40%.
40. Yeah.
Now, let's say your magic skill, right? Your zone of genius is only at 70%.
Mhm.
Now, let's say you do the same thing. You bust it and you grind it and you focus and you don't even double it. You just do a third.
Mhm.
What you've already gone from 70 to 90,
Yep.
maybe 95. You see what I'm saying? Which one do you think is going to give you the most results?
The second
Now,
one.
at the same time, I'm not saying don't focus on your weaknesses and enhance them.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
saying don't make that the sole focus that you do. Because if your zone of genius is over here, man, that's where your magic is at. You want to make sure that you keep doing that at level 7, take it to 8 and on up. And at the same time, keep inching up your weaknesses so that you can strengthen them as much as possible. But man, don't be going over there and say, well, everyone keeps wanting graphics. I suck at graphics.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not doing
colorblind.
graphics.
I
Yeah.
don't want to do graphics. I know a dude that'll do graphics what
Mhm.
I think is dirt cheap and
Yep.
comes up with beautiful stuff because that's his zone of genius.
Mhm.
So I'm going to do that over there while I stay over here. Now, do I play with graphics? Do I go into Canva and every once in a while and do?
Mhm.
Yeah, of course
Yep.
I do. I try to work with my weaknesses, but it's not my focus. Does that make sense?
100%. It's kind of like I can go and do Canva stuff. I can go and do some of that type of thing, but it's not what I enjoy doing. It's not what I'm great at.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm like, well, if I just focus on getting better at sales and life by design and helping people level up and stuff that I feel is my zone of genius, I'm going to generate sales. But if I generate
Mhm.
sales, now I can go and say, hey, Tracy, you have a podcasting editing team. I'm going to let your team edit my podcast now because I don't like editing, but because I made my other area, which brings me in my income, go up, I can afford to do that now because I've done that. It doesn't mean that I don't know how to do that because you always want to at least have a understanding of what's going on. That
Oh,
way you
yes.
don't get taken advantage of. But
Yeah.
like I know I'm not good at making PowerPoint presentations. I miss grammar stuff all the time. I
Right.
am happy for the AI stuff that I could pop it in and they fix all my grammar because my
Yeah.
grammar sucks.
Right.
But it's just finding out, having an understanding of it, but then also knowing, okay, cool, what is going to be my needle movers for the day? What's going to make my business move forward? Because we only have so much time,
Yeah.
and you're not going to want to spend like 3-4 hours doing an art thing when you go onto Fiverr and pay $50 for them to do the art thing for you.
Right.
How much money are you losing you spending 3 hours doing that instead of
There
paying
it
50
is right
bucks?
there.
That's
Yeah.
the thing that people just they that's the part of business that you should spend money on, not the
Yeah.
fancy background or the renting the Lambo or the stuff out in the beginning. You can get that once you've earned the right for that, but the
Once you've
stuff that
earned
you
it.
need to build your business. And I think
Yeah.
that's just something that you learn as you go. And I think you and I are of the same thing. We're just here to try and help people. So you're not going to see me. Maybe you have a Corvette or a Lambo or something great. I don't care. But I don't expect to see you in a picture of one on the beach saying, buy my course and you can drive a Lambo. That's
Right.
not how we are. It's more like, hey, I want to help you. If you want to get a Lambo, I can give you the tools to get there. But I'm
Yeah.
not going to show you a picture because I don't care about cars. Now you see me in Hawaii all day long. Like anytime I can go there, I'm going to get that. But it's just finding what works for you. Again, going back to who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's funny. We were talking about the cost of things. I just got finished rereading Jeff Walker's product launch formula, the
Mhm.
book. Right. And that's quick sidebar. Um, that's something I think we all should do frequently is go back and reread a book that impacted us previously, because I find you will find new gems
Yep.
in a previously read book because now you're ready for those gems. They were there before. They're in black and white. They're in the print. You just didn't notice them last time because you weren't ready for them. So I was rereading that, and he talks about opportunity costs,
Mhm.
right? So when you're focused on doing that graphics, because I suck at graphics, there's a cost to that, right? My time, I could be spending it doing other things in my zone of genius. So you just weigh your opportunity cost. Now, when you're early on, like you said, you got to do
You just
everything,
gotta do
right?
it. Yep.
You're wearing the marketing hat, you're wearing the graphics hat, you're wearing the salesman hat, right? Got it. As soon as you're able to, though, right, take off one of the hats and give it to someone else. And there it is. And there's a price with that.
Mhm.
But there's also, it also breaks you through that glass ceiling because you're banging your head because there's 24 hours in a day.
Mhm.
And you got to sleep some of them.
Yeah, you need to sleep. That's the other thing that we haven't touched on, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs and sales professionals and business people forget. We're so caught up in what we call the grind culture, do, 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 do,
Oh my
that we
God.
forget that our engine is us. We're like athletes.
Mhm.
We're like the people that if we don't get our sleep and if we don't do our workouts, if we don't have self care, whatever that looks like for you, I literally did a post on this right before we start recording. It's the thing that I think people forget because we think, well, if I do one more thing or one more post, I'm going to get there. No, you need to refuel yourself and create and
Yeah.
stop consuming and consuming and consuming because you probably consumed enough. You just haven't created it. So that's why you're consuming to try to find that next great
Right.
idea. When in
Right.
reality, you just need to create because we're creators.
Yes. And I think we need to balance that creation.
Hmm.
Let's look at our creative abilities as a wine glass or whatever you happen to drink, a glass of that, and it's full, and you're sipping from it, right? You're sipping from it as you're going through your day. Well, halfway through the day, depending on how fast you're sipping, maybe a quarter way through the day, your glass is empty,
Hmm.
and you can't run on it. You going in, you're licking the
Yep.
glass, you're
Yep.
rubbing your finger in there. You're not going to get any more out of it,
Yep.
right? You're now running on empty. So you got to do something to refill your chalice. And whatever that is for you. For some folks, it's getting out and walking in nature. For
Hmm.
you, it might be that Hawaii vacation, put your toes in the sand.
Yeah.
Others, maybe it's racing around. I don't know, whatever it is. And I'm talking about more than just the self-care piece. I think
Hmm.
well, I am talking about self-care in an enhanced manner. Yeah, we got to get sleep. We got to eat decent food, right? We can only go so long on, some of the fast food joints that are out
Yeah.
there before our body starts telling us, listen, stupid. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
100%. Yep.
And, get to sleep, eat right, and let's not even talk about dieting or whatever. But when you start getting those in balance, well, guess what? Your damn energy level jolts up
Hmm.
and your body will tell you, dude, you're killing it. All right. Now I can go maybe another hour than I could before I was taking care of myself. Well, right on.
Yep.
And I think one of the, this, and hopefully you resonate with this. When people get up in the morning, don't just pick up and start going for social media. Please, 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 please
I
don't do
agree
that.
100%. I agree
Get up
100%.
and give yourself, your brain, and your body some me time, whatever that looks like for you. If you want to
Mhm.
journal your life away. If you want to hit the gym, go for it. You want to run outside and dance in the rain, whatever. You want to lay down and hug your dog.
Mhm.
Cool. Personal me time when you get up, man, that is so charging. Meditation, whatever
Mhm.
that means to you. And I'm talking, that's everything from just sitting down and visualizing you reaching your goals to the actual home
Mhm.
version. Again, whatever it is to you, that will, I think, hit some of those charge buttons even faster then the changes in diets will happen because those happen over a slow rolling period of time.
Yep.
But if you do some of those morning routines that just get you going and then close it down in the evening so that your brain can shut down, so that you'll get a good restful night's sleep. I mean, sometimes raise your hand. You lay to your head on the pillow and your mind's just racing with things.
Mhm.
If if you have a piece of paper or a journal, write all that shit down
Yep.
before you go to bed. All right, I
Mhm.
got to make sure I do this. I got to take the kids to school. Blah, 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 blah. Write it down. Now your brain's saying, okay, cool. You listened to me. Now I know when you get up in the morning, you got this in front of you. And then you set it down on your end table and you put your head down and willing to bet dollars to donuts. Your eyes will close and you'll probably actually go to sleep a little faster than norm, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes 100%. Like, I know for me, a lot of times I get up. I'm actually now have a morning routine. When we were talking last time, I really was the guy that would do everything in the afternoon. But now, just from stuff I learned and how my bodies work better, I get up probably about 3 to 4 days a week, and I go to a boxing gym, like a
Nice.
boxing strength thing. So I'm not getting hit in the face. I don't want to get hit in the face, but I get to hit like tie bags and tier bags. We do
Yeah.
strength training, but I do it at 5:15 in the morning because I have the day job, I have other stuff going on. But I get up and I go and I get in movement. It's great. Or there might be days I get up and I just take 10 minutes and do a stillness practice. I don't even have to have anything
Yeah.
set. Like literally, I'll go to this little park and I will sit there for 10 minutes, no
There
note,
it is.
paper, no phone, no nothing. Watch the birds, watch the little trees, whatever, and just be because I think we need to develop the relationship with ourselves. And I think that's the
There it
thing that we're
is.
scared of
Mm-hmm.
because
And
that's
I
good.
think I would coach you. And first off, man, kudos for you for doing those things. It is amazing. And I think that elevates you to the probably the top 10% of people out there. If you want to take for me, and I learned this from others, take those same things and do them with intention.
Yep.
And you may be doing it, you just maybe you didn't mention it. So like when you go to the park to sit down, maybe your intention is to I want to see if I can find a bird I haven't seen before,
Mhm.
right? Which kind of keys you off. I'm not saying you're going to go there and it's like actually going to happen, but if you go there and like, all right, my goal today is just to sit and bring my heart rate down. Okay, cool. Do that. I want to see a lizard. Okay, well, it's the middle of winter. It's probably not going to happen, but it gives you something to focus on. Excuse me, as you're looking around,
Mhm.
and that attention or that intention fosters a habit. So then now, okay, now next time I go to the gym, I want to work on my left hook a little bit more. It felt a
Yep.
little sloppy the past couple of times, and then now, and then later you do a different intention. And the reason you do that is because now when you sit down at the business table to help someone, your brain is going, what's your intention?
Yep. Yep.
Because you've built that habit. And now it's almost like this laser, and you start going after things a whole lot faster with a lot more focus because, as I mentioned earlier, now you're thinking of what's the end in mind. And it's not selling somebody, like you said, you're solving a problem. If we talk about your particular business, if your attention is, I know what their problem is, I'm going to get them to that solution,
Mhm.
whether they buy it from me or someone else, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I want to get them to that solution. You just start going in like a beast at that point. Make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh, 100%. In fact, it's funny you mentioned the word intention because that's my word for this year. Like
No,
literally, I just
same.
decided to have a word for this year and just being intentional with my actions, with what I do. Because I look back and I'm like, I waste. And when I say this is funny because I'm probably one of the busiest people. Like people say, I don't know how you do all this stuff. And in my
Mhm.
head, I'm like, I waste so much time because entrepreneurs think differently. We don't
Yes.
think in the same way of like 10 years ago, I could come home from watching or come from homework and I could sit on the couch and watch football and zone out or watch movies and be great. And now I'm
Mhm.
like I told my wife, like I watched a little bit of the playoffs this weekend. I used to be the guy from Friday when it would be on. I'd watch college. I'd watch all, but now it's like
You're all
I'm
kicked back with
changing.
a beer.
Yeah, yeah. And now I'm just changing. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I like it, but it's not. I want to impact people. I want to help people. And I think it's what you said. When you put your mind and thoughts toward things, you start to gravitate toward it. So if
Mhm.
I say, hey, I'm going to read 10 pages every day, because I did that with 75 hard. Well, I don't have to do 75 hard, but I can every week, but I can read 10 pages a day. You build that habit, you get that intention. So yeah, I'm very big on intentions this year.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it's all these little things. I mean, we've mentioned probably a dozen of them already. And it's all these little things stacked together, right? That start to make magic happen. Next thing you know, you're looking back going, holy crap, look at all the things I've done.
Hmm.
And you're like, you were probably always doing them before, but you were doing a little over here. Then you
Yep.
put it down, you went over here and did a little over there, and down. And next thing you know, you're flitting around like a bird and nothing's moving forward. I pick up this project, I set it down, set it down. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's that, oh, look, shiny. Oh, look, shiny. Right? I'm doing all this stuff. How do you get it all done? You're focused.
Hmm.
You're going after it. And whether it's, a salesman job, a podcast, or a course, or a relationship,
Hmm.
right? You know, how many of us, this is a guy moment right here. How many of us has looked at a girl and say, I'm going to get her to date me? Especially when you're, maybe not now because you're married, right?
I'm married 21 years, so
But,
not
well,
now for
yeah,
sure.
but when you were younger, I know
Yep.
there's been a number of times I've looked across the dance floor, looked across a room, and saw some girl caught my eye, and I was like, I'm going to get her to date me.
Hmm.
That's your focus. You got
Yep.
that attention, right? And you went just shoom, like a missile, and you went after it. Now, maybe it didn't happen, but what did you do? You went and found the next one.
Hmm.
You had an intention. Most of the time, if you just went, "Oh, would you like going, would you like a drink?" Right? They're like, "Pfft, get out of here. You
Yep.
just, wishy-washy, it's a wet blanket kind of thing. But those guys that are like, yeah, that, mine, I got it, right?
Hmm.
It's that confidence. It's the same thing in anything else you're going to go after, whether it's a program like 75 Hard, or starting a business, or getting a new client. Man, you can't go up to a client and go, so would you like to work with me? They're
No.
going to be like, yes, no, thank
No.
you. But if you go into and say, so we've been talking here for about an hour, and we've come up with 4 solutions for you. Do you think any of those would work? Right? And
Mhm.
you're going to get a yes, because that's why you presented them, because at least one of them will work. Well,
Mhm.
good. I'd be happy to help you with one of those, and bang, 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 boom, make the presentation. They either say yes or they say no.
Mhm.
Move on. And we're going to come back to a point you made earlier. A lot of people are going to say no.
Yep.
A lot of people that come to your website, ladies and gentlemen, or listen to your podcast are never coming back. Just own it.
Mhm.
It's a numbers game. When you figure out, okay, if I get 10,000 people to come, about 25% of them are going to listen to the podcast. About 10% of those are going to are going to sign up for my freebie, wherever my freebie is. And about 16% of those are going to stay on the list longer than 3 months. And those that are on the list longer than 3 months, about 50% of those are going to buy a product from me.
Mhm.
There it is. Now you know the numbers.
Yep. It's
Now
perfect.
it's all about getting more, you're
Yep.
just filling the funnel, right?
And then it's just follow up. It's just, okay, cool. Is it a no now
Yeah.
or a no forever? Is it a no because something you haven't either A, gotten their trust all the way, B, they're not in a financial position to do it, or C, they're just not ready to make a decision, or is it
Mhm.
a no, you're just not their person? And then once you
Yeah.
figure that out, cool, great, Tracy, you're not my person. Cool, I'll go on. Oh, wait, Tracy, right now it's not cool. Can I talk to you in 3 months? Great.
Yeah.
And you just keep developing the thing. As we land this plane, because like you said, we've been going for about an hour and all. What have we've talked about so many different things. So let's do this. You said you have 2 courses coming out.
Yeah.
Do you want to reveal to people what those courses are, or do you want to keep them secret and make them
No, no,
listen?
yeah, I'm happy to share them. One's gonna be called, the Pro Pod Launch,
Mhm.
which is gonna be about podcasting, and it's gonna cover, a launch or a relaunch. So if, if folks already have a podcast and are looking to, kick it in the butt, certainly wanna go through that. And it's gonna come right back to what we were just talking about. It's gonna be about trying to get you in the mindset of having an intention as you go into it. Again, it might change, right? And it's about launching and monetizing as soon as you're possibly able to. And it has a number of ideas that are not the usual, oh, I'm going to monetize it with, advertising
Mhm.
and, with sponsors and all this kind of thing. There's a number of other ways. I'm sure you are aware of another number of them yourselves. And then, and I think the missing piece that a lot of folks see or don't see is the scaling,
Mhm.
right? So if you make it past episode 20, 100, 200, right? You're like, okay, this thing should be growing. There's some steps that you should be taking to help make sure that happened. And a lot of the courses I've seen in the past, and I've been through 2 or 3 of them,
Yep.
don't have those. Those are usually upsells or private things.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Like they're secret, secret, secret. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
secret. And that's why I say I'm just gonna drop all the knowledge on there. So
Mhm.
that will be coming out. And then the other one, you'll feel a trend here, the pro course launch.
Mhm.
Hey,
Makes
right?
sense. We're staying
And
in our
it's
niche.
basically, yeah, and it's basically the same thing. And it was one of the reasons why I was rereading the product launch formula, because there's a lot of great nuggets inside there that I had subconsciously put into the outline for this course. And I thought, I know I've heard some of this before. And then it clicked, I had ordered Profit Launch Formula back in
Mhm.
2008, I think is when it
Oh,
first
wow.
launched, or
Yeah.
when it relaunched back then. And I was one of the early customers for other things. But there's, I think, one of the magic pieces that are going to be inside this is we're going to do a launch. That makes sense,
Mhm.
right? Not a seed launch like he talks about in the book, but we're going to start telling people about what's coming up.
Mhm.
The key is, I know there are so many people out there that have some genius that they can put down digitally that don't have a list. They don't have a following. Maybe their
Mhm.
friends and family, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So let's teach them some of the core steps and get them going about talking about, hey, Joe, I'm getting ready to talk about this crocheting course right here,
Mhm.
man. I've been doing crocheting for 20 years and I love it. And if you're a crocheting person, you're going to pay attention.
Right.
Oh, he's got a crochet course coming out, right? And then you start, teaching them how to drop nuggets, right? Trail of breadcrumbs that these people will start to follow. And
Mhm.
maybe then you put out, like we were talking about before, a lead magnet and yada, yada, yada. So we're going to take them through the steps of doing that from ground zero. So if you have nothing, absolutely nothing except a passion to share your knowledge, well, and this is going to be the course for you, because
Mhm.
then we're going to take you through that through the course. And then on the back end, we're going to follow up with, okay, let's sit together and have a debrief in a little group coaching action right here, on what went well and what didn't go well, because this is not going to be the only launch you're going to do. And that helps teach them the, reading the results.
Mhm.
And if you don't read the results, then, you can't grow. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
No, I love that. I definitely love that. And I definitely will put in a plug for Tracy. Again, over 400 podcast episodes. He knows what he's doing there. Multiple courses, that type of stuff. So check it out. So where can they find you? Because we didn't do that in the middle this time. I know I normally do, but
That's
we've just
fine.
been chatting and talking because we're good friends. So
We've
where
been
can they
jamming at it,
find
right?
you? Yeah.
The easiest place to send them is we'll send them to the website, which is darkhorseschooling.com. And all the socials will be up there on the right-hand side. They're welcome to come follow me. Check out the YouTube, like I told you about. Yeah, just send them the website.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for being back on the show, Tracy. I appreciate you. And for everyone listening, take a risk on yourself. You have a zone of genius. You have something inside of you that the world needs. So go after it. And if you need help, ask someone like me and Tracy to help you. That's what we're here for.
Yes.
And until next time, be legendary, be great, be amazing, and we will talk soon.